welcome back to the Message Marketing Pod. I'm your host, Christopher Melotti from Melotti Media, and this is episode 123. How AI makes the balance of human EQ vital in copywriting and content marketing. What a hot topic. So, artificial intelligence, AI, has been revolutionizing the world of marketing for years, despite what you might think. By leveraging big data, machine learning algorithms, and other technologies, AI enables all types of businesses across a wide range of industries to do things like gain valuable insights into consumer behaviors, speed up marketing and operation processes, automate repetitive manual tasks, and optimize campaigns that are data-driven, and of course much more. AI-based language models like ChatGPT and other automated copywriting platforms have become now, out of the blue, prominent. They're a bit more of a recent AI development, and they've been promising to help you generate information and create content in just a few clicks, which is fantastic. I'm not putting that down. It's a great new innovation, and it's got so much potential that we haven't tapped into yet. However, AI copywriting and AI content creation comes with its limitations, and everyone I feel needs to know this. And so I'm not coming at this from an attack point. I think it's trying to make a balanced argument here. So while it's true and exciting that you can take advantage of AI to enhance how you produce content for your marketing, it doesn't mean you should just completely cut out the human element of the writing process. And I'll go into why. So smart marketers and business owners know that AI is not a complete substitute for human emotional intelligence, or some people say EI or EQ, especially as the majority of consumers base their decision making on what they feel. So what I'm trying to say here, and I'll run you through it, but you've got to remember that people are making decisions, B2B or B2C, they're making decisions on emotions over logic for the most of it. And so AI, as fantastic as it is, I've heard a lot of people say it's the co-pilot of business. I love that saying. I think that's correct. I think that you've got to see it as a co-pilot, not as a substitute. And I'll explain why. The reason is that to persuade people to act, you need to prioritize creating nuanced marketing content and rhetoric messaging. In other words, it needs to be really cleverly thought out. I always say to clients and general people in my network, just because AI can write better than you, like let's say you're not a writer or you don't like writing, just because AI writes better than you doesn't mean it's correct. And that's what you've got to be thinking of here. So you need to be able to connect with audiences deeply. That requires a human EQ as well when you're building your content. So it's really important to make sure that you don't miss any of that. In this podcast, I'm going to explore the value of human EQ in copywriting and content marketing and why these are more crucial than ever before because of AI and the emergence and the dependence on AI today. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. AI is so tempting because it's free and available, risks putting your marketing on autopilot. While that sounds great, your customers are too savvy, resistant, and educated for an automated stream to resonate sufficiently, which degrades your brand and their minds over time. So what I mean by this is that think about it, put your customer hat on for a second. So let's put your business hat off or your marketing hat off and be the customer for a second. How annoying is it when you get those spammy LinkedIn posts and private messages and you know that a lot of it is not even written for you. It's just shooting, fish in a bucket and they're hoping that they get the best. This, I feel, is going to escalate over time, and personalization and really human-driven content is going to take the lead. I've seen this in many, many markets, is that content marketing's rule hasn't changed over these years. In the end, it's whatever intrigues the customer the most that's going to get just clicked on and the decision will be made on. And with AI, that's become even more prominent. The rule hasn't changed there, is that if there's a whole bunch of AI written content that's very generic and then you get some piece that's been really specifically written and full of nuanced ideas and fresh and innovative perspectives, that's when brands really stand out. So as AI becomes more everywhere today, it's important that business owners and managers realize the balance of human emotional intelligence that comes into and must always be in marketing, given that we're talking to customers. So that's why I talk about human EQ, why it's valuable in copywriting content marketing. So emotional intelligence, which people often say EQ or emotional quotient, refers to the ability to recognize, understand, understand and manage emotions, both your own and of those around you. So people typically with a high EQ can not only empathize with what other people feel, but they can also communicate really well and respond in a clear and consistent way. And, because EQ deals directly with human emotions, it plays a particularly vital role in copywriting and content marketing. There are 3 key reasons why. The first is you need EQ to address pain points, which are typically emotional based. So people often, and marketers and business owners, when you're looking at your clients or your customer segment and you're trying to drill down on their pain points, usually it's not superficial, it's quite deep. So people might say, oh, they want an easier way to do the laundry, but what their customers are actually looking for is to solve the frustration. And see how that's an emotional thing. And so it's very hard unless AI is piloted correctly. And so human copywriters and content creators use EQ to acknowledge these pain points and weave them into the content and the website pages that they're writing, and then respond in a way that reassures and touches people. That's the first reason why you need that balance of EQ. Number 2 is you need EQ to persuade, which requires an emotional connection. So by leveraging EQ, human copywriters and content creators can tap into the desires and interests of people and influence their purchasing decisions. And number 3 is you need EQ to tailor content to find the emotions of different audiences. So with EQ, human copywriters and content creators can develop content that's more tailored to what customers need at each stage of their buying journey. Because you've got to remember that today, and again, put on your customer hat, we don't just make decisions on a whim. You don't just look up a car and go, I'm going to buy that. You don't just look up a laptop or book a lawyer in by just looking it up and going, yep, that's the one I want. You do multiple rounds of due diligence and digital interviewing, and you sort of have a look at what people are doing and what evidence and social proof. And that requires a human brain, because the human journey, the customer journey, is quite complicated. And so what I'm trying to say is, I'm not saying AI is wrong, but what I'm trying to remind everyone listening is that it's very important to remember that it's not to be seen as the replacement for you and your team and how you work, because in the end, it's a great tool like all of the other marketing tools we have, but it isn't designed to completely replace your team or human copywriters or marketing people, because in the end, you've got to have that human connection. And so this is like why I think that in the dawn and the era of AI, it's making human EQ more important than ever before, because as the number of AI copywriting platforms increase, and more of your competitors start to rely on them to mass produce content, the more you will need EQ to stand out and connect more closely with audiences. And it's really, really important. You've got to remember, let's think about that again, because I guarantee all of your competitors are probably thinking, how can I use AI to get it ahead? And that's great, right? AI does have its advantages. But if you've got to remember, if you're sacrificing your customer's experience for that, then you've got to remember that all of your competitors and all of your industry is going to look quite uniform. And so this is an opportunity. Think of it as this way. How are you going to respond in a really innovative and creative way that makes sure that you are still connecting with the customer, the human customer in the end? Because there's a few reasons. One is AI can't read customers' emotions or weave it in. You have to put the prompt in, and even then it's still like trying to guess at emotions. AI can help create various types of content faster than ever, but emotional resonance is what drives real engagement. So you think about this, right? If you produce 10 AI articles that are very cold and generic versus that one really human-driven, thought about, well-considered piece of content, you're probably going to do much faster and it'll be a better use of your time. So think about that when you're looking at the balance here. And remember that you can't just use AI's output. Remember, that's copyright infringements, and there's a lot of problems there. And there's a lot of, you might be ending up breaching someone else's. But that aside, is that you've got to remember that you've still got to edit the output. And then by the end, you might have found that one piece of human written content might have been better, probably will be better than those 10 generic articles. Okay. But AI is great at collecting and analyzing customer data, which is fantastic. You've got to remember that then when you use that data, you have to weave it in a way that your readers and your audiences are going to trust. And that requires that human nuance. Do you see how there's like that balance? So you've got to remember that it's great to collect that data, But analyzing what the actual data means requires a human to determine what humans are doing. AI is basically biased to the data it is trained on. And so this is another thing you got to watch out, is that, people have noticed in the past that AI comes up with particular trends and things and what they call hallucinates, or even uses slurs and things that wouldn't be politically correct, simply because it's based on data from years and years of different generations of technicalities and things like that. So you've got to remember that you still need to have a human to check that, so that to eliminate those like data biases and all those hallucinations and things like that. AI, of course, can ramp up your productivity, but you've got to remember that EQ is all about enhancing the customer connection and customer service. And so it's really important that you rely on that EQ to think, will this benefit my customer experience with my brand? And in the end, my point is, AI is a fantastically powerful tool and the opportunities are going to grow from here. But it's not a replacement for EQ or humans. So while AI is transforming the marketing landscape and can be a powerful tool, it's EQ that allows you and your team and your human copywriters to understand customers' feelings, as well as the driving force that helps you respond to audience sentiments and enables you to emotionally connect your brand with them. And it's really important to remember never to lose this, is that if you want to engage readers and convert them into loyal customers and become brand advocates of your business, you cannot be treating them as a number and just spamming out AI. I know it feels easy and it's free and so accessible, but it shouldn't make you or your marketing lazy. So I hope that helped. Thank you so much for listening to episode 123 of the Message Marketing Pod. I'm your host, Christopher Melotti from Melotti Media. If you need help really gauging that copy and getting that EQ infused into your marketing so that you do sound different and that your customers feel respected and acknowledged as humans rather than numbers, contact us. We'd love to work with you. At Melotti Media, we work directly. There's nothing generic because we interview you. So we provide that strategy-backed copywriting. So it's not just brief in, blog out. We talk to you, we talk to your team, we consult, we help you and guide your team so that you can find the right piece of content that you need to actually stand out and be heard. So I hope this helps. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast and I will join you in the next episode. Thank you so much.